What's going on? So today I want to talk about failure and finishing what you started. Right? Failure does not have to be final, right? I know sometimes we're afraid of failing or we get scared, but it doesn't have to stop us. And I'm sure you've heard of the saying like you pop one tire, you get out and you give up, and that's like popping all of the other three. So today's story, right, is I want to remind you to look for ways to take action instead of looking for excuses. See, and what we're going to be talking about is a true story by a woman named Nyah, who was a world champion in swimming. Now, swimming's not an easy thing to do, right? And now I want you to imagine swimming over 100 miles and then doing it in your 60s in shark-infested waters, right? And she did just this, but it didn't happen on the first try. So in the 1970s, Diana was one of the greatest long distance swimmers in the world, right? She has world records for swimming and circling around the Manhattan Island, crossing 102.5 miles between Bahamas and Florida. And she had a very well career. She was respected. She had these world records. And she eventually went and retired, and she became a prominent sports broadcaster. But as she was going throughout her life, she felt like she needed more, right? That there was more that she needed to do. And she always had this elusive dream of swimming from Cuba to Florida, being the first person and woman to ever do so without using a shark cage. Now, she had tried it when she was younger, didn't work out, and she decided to come out of 30-year retirement at the age of 62 to attempt this elusive dream once and for all and try to accomplish it. So in September of 2011, right, with 100 million, 1.3 million Twitter followers, right, speaking the dream of living large and, right, chasing your dream, and no matter what your age, she entered the water, right, with her team and her crew, and she began her journey of swimming from Cuba to Florida nonstop. Now, in the water, there's sharks, there's box jellyfish, which are very dangerous, and she didn't have anything to protect her. She swam 41 long hours fighting the stings, right, and continuing fighting off fatigue and dehydration. But eventually, right, she had to succumb to the box jellyfish stings, and she was pulled out of the water to recover and go back and reassess. But remember, she's not one to quit. This is her second attempt. And 1 year later, on August 2012, she said, I'm going to make this happen, right? I'm making this happen. And this time she had a secret weapon. She had this suit, this jellyfish suit that would cover all of her body and just left a little slit so that she could breathe, of nylon so that it could prevent her from suffering those stings once again, right? And she got back into the water with her team, right? And she spent 51 hours and 5 minutes swimming against the jellyfish. The jellyfish were attacking, they were stinging, even the smallest pieces that the suit didn't cover. There were life-threatening thunderstorms and lightning storms. There were large sharks that were circling her, right? And the Gulf Stream literally spun the team's fleet compass so that she ended up swimming like this instead of straight. That if she would have just she swam over 100 miles straight, she would have made it. But because the Gulf Stream was messing up where she was going, she ended up having to be pulled out of the water again, right? Having already swam 100 miles, right? But like I said, she's not one to quit. She's not one to give up. After that, 1 year after that, 2013, her dream comes true. She emerges from the water wearing her blue cap, her goggles, and her suit after her fourth attempt to make this thing happen. In her mid-60s, she swam 110 miles in 52 hours and 54 minutes so that she could make this dream a reality for her. And when she reached the shore of Key West, Florida, she said this one thing, right? Well, she said three things. Three things made this dream happen. She said, one, you should never, ever give up. No matter how many times you fail, no matter how many times you stumble, keep trying. Then she also said, two, right, you're never too old to accomplish something. You're never too old to chase your dream. You're never too old to make it happen. And thinking that way only prevents yourself from even taking those actions. And three, It's a team sport, right? It might look like she's doing this on her own, but she had to thank her team for being there, for supporting her, for believing in her, for continuing to get out there in the ocean, to stay awake for 50 some hours to help her swim those 100 miles, right? Moral of the story is that she failed a whole bunch of times. And not only did she just fail a little, she failed in front of millions of people, right? She failed at a dream that she was working on, that every time she got in the water, she was like, this is the time. On her fourth time, right? Probably more than a lot of other people would have. I probably would have given up off the first time. But she refused to give up. She refused to stop. And I want to remind you that it's okay to fail. It's how you react from that failure. It's how you continue to push forward from that that's going to make the biggest difference in where you want to go and whether you're going to achieve that thing that you want to achieve. So there's no excuses, right? It's okay. That's part of the process. It's part of learning, stumbling, falling, failing. But get back up. Get a little bit better. Get your nylon suit. Make it happen, because it will happen if you keep chipping away at it. If you keep being persistent, if you keep chasing it, it'll happen. It's just waiting for you, right? It's over there waiting for you. You just have to go and get it. So hopefully that story, I know it was a little long, of Diana Nyah can help inspire you for the next week to just continue to move forward, and it's okay if you stumble, but don't make any excuses. Continue to take action forward, and every little piece counts.